Hey there, welcome back to another brain spanking new piping hot podcast. I am once again joined with my good friend Matt.
Hello there, this is Matt, aka Rambaraf for Life, and thanks for having me back for another episode of CelluloidNation.
Anytime. I really don't feel this podcast is the same without you. So,
Thank you.
we're going to start things off right off the bat with some movie news. This is, by the time this is posted, probably not that new, but that's how it is. There's news all the time, every day. It's hard to keep up with everything, but we're going to do our best. So I'm going to start out discussing the Zorro movie reboot, which they still haven't dropped. I don't know why. They need to put an X on this instead of a Z, because this is a stupid idea. This is Zorro in the future. Future Zorro. And I know
2040.
Zorro 2040, exactly. Um, Apparently, it's just called Z as well, which you're asking for plenty of snoring jokes if
It's a
that movie is
prequel.
bad.
It's a prequel to World War Z. It's just called Z.
And
This time, Zorro's a zombie.
you know what? If it's Antonio Banderas playing Zombie Zorro, I'd be more into that than the idea that they have here.
What's that?
It's Zorro in the future.
Why?
I don't know why. They already did this. It was called Zorro the Next Generation or Zorro a New Generation or some shit. It was some fucking shitty cartoon where Zorro was in the future, was a future Zorro.
Did he use a laser whip?
I think he
Was it
did. I think he
was it a
did.
flame whip, Castlevania style?
I think he did use a laser whip, if I remember correctly, and rode around on a motorcycle. The only thing he was missing is roller blades popping out of his feet and all this other shit popping out of his ass, like RoboCop and Alpha Commando. And then, then the future thing would be complete. There's a lot of just Phantom 2040. I guess is like the best one out of these future heroes in the future cartoons, but there's not very many good ones at all. I mean, they even put Sherlock Holmes in the future in one cartoon. Like, really? Sherlock
When?
Holmes 2049 or some shit or whatever, or 2050 or whatever. It was.
So when's Dick Tracy 2040?
You know what? I actually
They
watching
don't
that
Dick
shit. Dick
Dick
Tracy in the
Tracy
future shooting
2049.
aliens, shooting ugly aliens with guns and shit, laser guns.
Be a cousin of Blade Runner 2049. Dick Tracy 2049.
Ryan Gosling would play Dick Tracy.
Be Warren Beatty again.
80-year-old Warren B. So yeah, as you can see, we're not very excited about the new Zorro movie reboot. Just like we're not very excited about the Crow reboot. I don't even want to talk about it.
It's 2019, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
April or something, 2019.
Yep.
Starring Jason Momoa. I want to give a shout out to my friend and our friend John Zero
Mm-hmm.
Cool, who is working on a documentary on Brandon Lee.
Awesome.
And he's getting footage and doing whatever he can, so wish him luck, because that would be something more interesting than this Crow reboot, which they've already had reboots. It's called City of Angels and Salvation and Winter Prayer with a drunk-looking Edward Furlong.
Sadly, he probably was drunk. I mean, I would not be surprised.
So there's no need for new Crow. You already
No.
had wannabe remakes of Crows
I'm
that after
surprised they
that
did not do a female Crow, to be
they
honest.
wanted.
I know there's a comic that's a female Crow.
I don't know if it was Rob Zombie or someone else that wanted to do a female
Yeah, I
Crow.
remember that.
I know there was like a Crow in the future,
That would at
which
least
was Rob
be
Zombie.
Crow 2040.
At least like But yet they don't do Spider-Man 24.
No, no
I
Spider-Man 2049, which is actually cool. I like Spider-Man
Which
2049.
I'd be intrigued by that because that comic and costume's pretty cool. But
Or Batman Beyond.
instead, we get Zorro in the future before
No Batman Beyond movie.
Batman being Spider-Man. We get Zorro
Z.
Z,
So,
and
yeah,
the
so
Crow. It's not needed. Not
no.
needed. Not wanted. No one's crying out for it. No one's saying yes. I want it. No, I don't see any interest.
In the last remake and reboot, I'm so worked up about, thinking about this, I can't even say the words properly. The last remake and reboot that Jason Momoa was in was Conan the Barbarian in 2011. You remember how shitty that was? Do we need a repeat of that?
Yes, because Aquaman's going to make money, and they think he's going to be a new star.
Aquaman will make money, but he still won't be a new star. You have to have something called charisma and acting talent. I
So
mean,
he's a falling star,
yeah, exactly.
a shooting star press plex.
I want to give him a shooting star press and then a spear from Roman Reigns. Oh no, he'd spear himself because he is basically just Roman Reigns.
Speared by his twin.
So, apparently Black Panther is now in the top 10 of all time in the domestic box office. I wanted to mention this because not only just be okay,
Congrats.
it's congrats. I want to give the film some props for that. But I also want to mention it because this is showing you. I mean, you might look at that and be like, "Oh wow, it's like a huge, like enormous hit." But because of how much money studios are spending on their blockbuster films, they're spending $200 million. Like Black Panther cost $200 million to make. Okay, that's not even counting the advertising budget, which could easily have been another 200 million or another 100 million at least.
That blows my mind. That cost 200 million because
Well, especially the CGI at the end.
if people like the film, that's fine. I don't see a $200 million
I
film. I'm
see some.
sorry.
I
I mean, that's
see
more.
the CGI of
Maybe some of the
Wakanda was really well
spaceships,
done when they showed the outside of Wakanda and things like that. I thought that was
but
great.
the
But
finale fight
yeah,
and the rhinos.
it's like they blew all their budget on the Wakanda and they didn't have any fucking money for the rhinos and the climax at the end.
I mean, when that costs more than Blade Runner
Yeah.
2049, more.
Hmm.
I Yes, the spaceships and the Wakanda. I can give the effects guys on that.
And apparently the suits, for the most part, they were practical. But for some reason, they just slathered it all in CGI in post.
Oh, like the Thing prequel
Yeah.
all over again.
But I don't think they actually were in any suits in the climax. I think that was entirely done inside of a computer.
It looks like it.
So why I was mentioning this because I really don't think this is a business model that I think can honestly be sustainable. Look what happened with Sony's The Amazing Spider-Man 2. It cost almost $300 million to make. It only made a little bit over 300 million in the U.S. It made an extra 400 something million overseas. But the problem was the overseas gross is about 60%. It's not actually it's 40% I think or something like that. It's not really a lot. It's not that much. It's not 100% of the take. And and then Sony spent another 200 million easily on advertising considering they put Spider-Man's likeness on almost anything to hype up that film's release. I mean, including water, and they had like a dancing spider baby in an ad. So yeah,
I
that
remember that.
underperformed. Did not do that well for them in the box office, even though it made almost $1 billion worldwide. It's to the point now where films have to make these blockbuster films have to make at least $1 billion worldwide to make a considerable amount of profit. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, I mean, this isn't a new thing. For
No.
many years, budgets have increased, and whether it be back in the day with Cutthroat Island,
But
Waterworld,
this is like studios
Big,
making the equivalent of Waterworld multiple times in a row,
more like the
every
equivalent of
single year.
Titanic.
Yeah.
Titanic every single time. I remember when Titanic came out, everyone was so blown away by how much it cost.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure they were so thankful it made so much money. Now it's like every blockbuster has pretty much that budget.
Yeah, it honestly is insane when you think about it, and it just makes you wonder why they're still like. It's like why like this bubble is eventually gonna burst. Like you need is gonna get to the point where you need to make 2 billion worldwide to make a profit. That's not a good model at all. Especially when you
Or
have examples like Deadpool, which only cost 58 million to make and made a crazy amount of profit. I saw a graph that showed that Deadpool made more profit for Fox than the majority of every comic book film ever made. That tells you something. I mean, it's like wow, like that's a really huge amount of profit.
well,
Uh
especially if this movie pass thing is successful,
oh, it's already up to 2 million.
how little they're going to see it. I mean, I don't know how that works, how they see that money or what the deal is, but
They get, I think they do get the money, but like I don't know what the percentage is of the money they get. But yeah, it is already successful. It's already up to 2 million subscribers. I'm a subscriber. Um, I'm a happy subscriber. I'm glad I have it because saw the perfect movie pass movie, Death Wish. It's the perfect film to use your movie pass for. It was all right. It was decent. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be, or as bad, or as racist, or as biased as a lot of the critics said it was. It was nice to see Bruce Willis on the big screen again. Um, and yeah, I had a decent amount of time with it, but it was a time waster. But it was a perfect movie pass movie. That's a film I would never pay full price to see.
well, it makes you wonder if they're going to up the prices of whether regular tickets or even movie pass.
Yeah, I don't
Do
I
you
don't I
think
don't
they'll
I
up the
don't know if
price?
Movie Pass will do that. I think what will happen is the theaters will try to up the prices. But if MoviePass keeps making a decent amount of money, all they do they put a certain amount of money on a debit card, uh, and
But
it's like
but didn't
credit.
Netflix up their price at one point?
Yeah, but
So that's why I'm wondering.
MoviePass used to be I think 7.99, then it went up to 9.99 or something. So it's recently now really popular, and I could definitely see why. I mean, uh, it's it's a great thing to have. Like it's like, I mean, when I saw Winchester, I used my movie pass. I didn't really lose anything except my time because the movie sucked. But yeah, but yeah, we'll see how this goes. This is definitely going to be a battle for sure. But I just don't understand why they didn't copy Deadpool's model, especially after how successful Deadpool was. It's like, why don't you make more blockbuster quality films with smaller budgets?
For some reason they can't. For some reason I don't know why it costs so
Is
much.
it because
I have no
CGI
idea.
costs that much to do? Like people keep telling me that oh well they don't do a lot of practical because it costs more, or it takes too much time. But then I'm like, with a $200 million budget, like maybe it might have been cheaper actually to do some of those things practically.
And also with these blockbusters, some of them with their superhero, they're going to be paying the actors, I'm sure, big
Yeah.
salaries to make them keep coming back, like how much they pay Robert Downey
Well, I
Jr.
mean, Star Wars: The Last Jedi made 1.3 billion worldwide, but it spent like a crazy amount of money with advertising and merchandise, and it has lost a shit ton of money with merchandising. Like they
Really,
really have been hit hard because their Last Jedi and their Star Wars merchandise was not selling. There's some great videos by this YouTuber named World Class Bullshitters, and he talks about how Star Wars is almost a dead brand in terms of merchandising because they were not selling for months before the film's release, and then after The Last Jedi was released, the stuff was all over the clearance.
I've seen some of those videos, world class bullshit, some fun videos.
Just absolutely in clearance bins for like super cheap prices. And then they were moving them then, but only because they were on clearance.
Well, yeah, especially when they're telling people you're wrong if you don't like the
And
movie
then
and
even
if you're
some of
this and
them
that.
weren't selling at all, like the Rose Tico toys. Like nobody cares. And for some reason Disney is still putting money into making a Holdo, Captain Holdo, the Laura Dern character, making an action figure of her. Like who wants that?
Just have her, they're just, it's her character in Jurassic Park, and then they'll sell better. It's part of the Star Wars case, though.
So they made 1.3 billion worldwide, but they put a lot into their merchandising and they got hit hard. So that has to take a huge chunk out of it. And they made a decent amount in domestic, but the film cost $200 million to make. Again, like they're at the point now, if you make 400 million domestically, that's just basically breaking even, really, to be perfectly honest.
Well, yeah, usually it's not always the case, but usually they say you have to double your budget to break even or something. So,
I mean, look at something like RoboCop. It cost 140 something million to make, made 200 something 40 something million worldwide. Didn't do
and people were
well.
telling you that's a hit.
Yeah, not a hit.
People
Not
were
at all.
arguing you it's a hit.
It's not a hit.
But if it was such a hit, they would have made
It's
sequels because it was
shit.
meant for a
The
franchise.
only thing hit related is, in the word shit there's hit. So
Or you could buy the 15 copies you saw and hit them.
yeah,
I saw something. You saw like 15 copies of it
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah. I went to Big Lots recently, folks, with a friend of mine, and they had literally a dozen or more copies of RoboCop on DVD over there on the DVD racks, and they were not selling. And that was for like $5. And then they
Oh,
had three of them that were marked down to $2.50, and those weren't selling either. Nobody wants
I,
RoboCop.
for $2.50. Wow, you didn't even get it.
No,
And you buy a lot of $2.50. Still too much.
I'm not even buying that for $1. I wouldn't even buy a copy of that movie to tie to my punching bag so I can hit it, because that will give it a purpose. So yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
it's these budgets are just crazy. They're getting out of control. It's getting kind of hectic.
But can you imagine? I mean, what was you said the budget again for RoboCop?
Like I think it was like
The
140 million or something. 100 over 100 million, if I remember correctly, for sure.
and you just imagine like what the equivalent of that would have been, say in 1993 with RoboCop 3, and yeah, like Paul Verhoeven or someone had that kind of budget, and they would create something fantastic.
Yes, that could have been just amazing.
And yet here they made something so even generic is too good of a word. But even for people who like it, maybe the best they could say is if you like the film, it's fine. But I almost want to say generic, but it's worse than generic. But that's my point is that you could barely even get to a generic level with that budget. And there's probably a few movies with that kind of budget that they put all this money and resources into, and they become like movies that you don't remember, or
Mm-hmm.
movies that don't become classics. But yet you
Look
watch.
how much was put into Valerian. That didn't do very well.
I didn't see it. I didn't care to see it,
You're not alone.
and we're not alone. Yeah, I don't know if there's you would have to imagine there'd be a bubble that would hit and maybe shake up Hollywood to.
See, this is what I'm seeing. Like, if there's, I mean, Disney can afford, because they're just rolling in fucking cash. I think they would stop giving such high budgets to stuff though, because even they would be like, we're losing a little bit too much out of our bottom line, and we don't like that. But
Well, maybe other
Other
studios like
studios that don't have as
Paramount,
much of a they don't have as much of a fall. They don't
like
have as much of a cushion. They could
Sony.
be fucked if they had like two or three big, high budgeted bombs.
The two I'm looking at is Sony and Paramount.
Yeah, well, Sony's already in trouble. So,
Yeah, and then Paramount, Transformers underperformed, thankfully, finally. Ninja Turtles, the second one, flopped, thank God. The Bumblebee, who knows if anyone will give a fuck. Maybe people will
Mission
have.
Impossible, I think, will make money, but that's really all they kind of have right now. A studio like
But
MGM, if MGM tries to do a couple or two or three or four big budget,
I'm surprised they're still around,
yeah,
MGM. I really am. Like, I don't even know what the last movie they released, but
Death Wish.
oh well. And that's not doing the best.
No.
But I mean, usually they were with James Bond, and even then, it's like not even much there. It's. I mean, they don't go. I
Well,
wouldn't
with
be
James
surprised. You'll
Bond,
see.
they have to share the profits with Sony, I think, or some other company.
But I'm just saying, I wouldn't be surprised some of these companies in the next 5 years go to the way of Orion.
Well, yeah,
Orion Pictures,
or what's the name of that company that went
United Artists
bankrupt?
back in the
Yeah,
day.
United Artists, exactly.
Back in the day, United Artists. Something's going to get. There's going to be that one, or might not even be one. Maybe like two or three movies, and it's going to cripple studio so much. I mean, isn't that kind of why? I don't know.
Lionsgate is selling, and I
I didn't
mean,
know Lionsgate.
yeah, another reason why is because of the whole thing with I don't even want to say his name because he's a piece of shit. But
Well, I'll say it, Weinstein.
yeah,
But is Weinstein with Lionsgate?
yeah,
I thought he just had his own company, the Weinstein Company.
he does. But I think he also has like a stake in
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Lionsgate. I think I could be wrong though.
I don't know what this might not be the same thing, but why Fox is going to Disney?
Well,
Did they
because
have
Disney.
bombs, or is it?
Well.
So
I
I'm
mean,
trying to
they've had
think.
some bombs, but I mean,
Well, this supports like Alien Covenant.
Disney wants Fox just for their their
Well, I know
streaming
that's why they
platform.
want, but I'm just saying why Fox is allowing it unless they're not doing that well.
Yeah, they're not
Like
doing.
why would Fox not allow that?
They're clearly not doing that well. Otherwise, they wouldn't really let that deal happen.
Entertain that idea.
Yeah. So I mean, there's definitely some seeds that are being sown, for
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, if Fox, which has been a company that for the longest time, since back to the way back for decades,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that they're selling, and the fact you might get like Alien and Predator Disney,
The Alien
Die
Queen's
Hard
gonna be a
Disney.
Disney princess.
Yeah, I saw that the Alien Queen's a Disney princess. Needs to be crying to be more. Ever since Alien 3, they're just dead.
Yep.
And then, like, what, Die Hard Disney? Like, Bruce Willis is going to be the prince,
Yippee ki
Mother Crusher. It's like that stupid poster for Die Hard 5, Yippee-ki-yay, Mother Rusher.
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah, that fucking poster.
But I mean, okay, getting back to the thing, the budgets, something has to give
Mm-hmm.
sooner or later. It's got to be. I think we're seeing it with some of these companies. Like, there's been so many times I heard that Sony might sell, and
Yeah. That's what makes it
Fox.
even more baffling. It's like you see the writing on the wall, and you're like, nah, let's not change anything.
Because they want to be like Disney. Everyone wants to be like Disney, or even
But
Universal is
the
doing
thing
fairly
is,
well.
Disney is already like ridiculously rich, and it's a ridiculous amount of assets.
Which is why they want to be Disney.
But
They
Disney
want
already
that.
has most of the assets. You can't be Disney.
So they just want to work for Disney.
It's just everyone's owned by Disney. It's just the all Disney studio.
The entire Hollywood's owned by Disney. That'll be it.
Well, I mean, it's getting close. I mean,
Instead of the Hollywood sign, it'll be the Disney. They'll take the Hollywood sign now, just be DISN. EY and
Uh,
Mouse everywhere or something. Mickey Mouse over Hollywood.
so anyway, yeah, just something to
Ridiculous.
keep an eye on, folks, for sure. Arnold Schwarzenegger confirms that they're going to start filming Terminator 6 with Tim Miller directing and James Cameron producing. They're going to start filming it, I think, maybe this summer.
That's sad. Fuck this shit.
I know.
I'm tired.
But Linda Hamilton's coming back. And Schwarzenegger. And Jimmy Cammey's producing it. It's going to be good now because James Cameron's producing it.
Oh, the guy that loved Genesis so much that he praised him in front of a trailer
But then he
and is
took
like,
it back later. But, you know.
James Cameron hasn't made a good thing since True Lies.
Sadly, yes.
That was like
And
94.
his balls sank along with the Titanic.
His balls got taken in the divorce with Linda Hamilton. Linda Hamilton took his balls
I'm
and she went
surprised
home
he's
with him.
producing with Linda Hamilton coming back.
Maybe he's hoping maybe I'd get my balls back. Can you give me my balls back, Linda? She's like, yes, only if you put me in your movie. But I don't care about another Terminator. I
I
mean,
don't either.
when was the last good Terminator movie, folks?
I had fun with the prequel with Salvation, but I'm not gonna
Yeah,
call it a good, a good Terminator film.
I actually don't mind the movie,
Yeah,
but yeah, it's if it never existed, I wouldn't
yeah,
cry tears over it. I just the last good one, most people would say two
and
in
that didn't
1991.
necessarily. I mean, yeah, it's the last one, last good one, and it's the last one that really needed to exist because after that, it just went downhill. And honestly, I mean, Salvation doesn't really fuck with the continuity as much, but 3 and Genesis, yeah,
Sega Genesis.
it's fucking ruins shit. Makes John Connor a villain. The third one, oh, Judgment Day, oh, it's inevitable.
Yeah, that was in part three. Yeah, it's inevitable. And
And Linda Hamilton hasn't been in a lot lately, so I'm supposed to be excited over that. Also, Schwarzenegger, he was in fucking Killing Comfort recently, which was a steaming pile of shit.
I haven't seen it, but I saw Mike's rant on it. And I'm not. Seems like I'm not missing much.
Arnold in that film, Arnold somehow, I guess, got the same makeup artist as Melissa Sue Anderson from Happy Birthday to Me, and was able to get a suit and a mask that made him look exactly like a chick. And then the whole joke is, oh, he banged some dude. That's hilarious.
Listen, I love Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, he's fucked up personally. A
Yeah,
lot of people do. No one's perfect. But the guy is 77 years old, folks. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He cannot do much anymore. And that's nothing against Schwarzenegger. It's just how everybody
yeah.
ultimately ends up being.
I mean, I'm gonna go in and say the same thing about the proposed Indiana Jones 5. I don't want it.
I don't see how. I mean, people were saying it too
Harrison
much
is
in
old.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull,
Yeah,
and that was God, I forgot what year that was now.
2005, I think, or six or something. Yeah, it was a while.
Four. I can't
Yeah,
It
maybe.
was at least 10 years ago, at least.
Yeah,
I mean,
and people were
no,
like, he's too old then.
yes,
And you look
I
at him
want
as
to.
Han Solo in Force Awakens. He looked old then too. I love Harrison Ford. I love Arnold
2008.
Schwarzenegger, but
Kingdom of Crystal Skull was 2008. So 10 years ago. It's like we were mentioning in a podcast before or two about horror icons.
hmm
Also, movie franchises. This is why you cannot keep stretching that line or it's going to break. You can aliens, alien and aliens. You only needed that. You keep diluting it. You keep pissing in the tank. You keep diluting. Like you get this great drink and you love the drink and it tastes good the first time, it tastes good the second time. And someone tastes a drink from you and it's like, let me mix this in, let me mix that in, and then you keep mixing it and then it just becomes poisonous.
Mm-hmm.
You keep mixing this drink up, it's poisonous now. And you get to a point where people just don't care, don't like it, and want nothing to do with it. And it becomes a joke. It
Case in
becomes a
point,
joke.
here's Exhibit A, RoboCop. Prime example of that, RoboCop. After RoboCop 2, they kept diluting they kept trying to do all this stuff. They kept trying to hang on to the character. They kept trying to make whatever amount of money or buck they could make off of him and turned him into a fucking joke. And it's sad to see the same fucking thing is
no
happening
one
with the
wants to buy.
Terminator.
No one wants to buy his movie for $2.50 at a store where there's like a dozen copies.
Yeah.
And that's RoboCop. I mean, no.
Just make a direct-to-video or direct-to-Netflix animated, rated R, anime or just animated movie of RoboCop versus Terminator with Peter Weller voicing RoboCop, Schwarzenegger voicing the Terminator or the other different versions of the Terminator. You could even have Linda Hamilton voice a character. I'd rather see that.
Well, yeah, me too. I mean, a RoboCop versus Terminator with those, yeah, that'll never happen. So, since they will never do that, just stop.
Yeah.
Arnold does not have many movies left. That's sad. I like Arnold. Just like I love Stallone, Van Damme. They don't have many movies left, so you have to be choosy. I know that's not a word, but you have to be picky.
Mm-hmm.
Not waste on Terminator movies when Terminator Genesis was a waste. You could have had Arnold in any number of movies.
Seen The Last Stand too.
I would. I mean, there's many ideas. I would love.
It's a bit old, but Crusade doesn't necessarily need him to be like super young anyway. Like, I mean, it's a middle-aged
I'm sure
movie.
there are countless scripts that he was attached to in the past. I mean, you mentioned Crusade and such, but other scripts that maybe he could take a look at again, even that they're not sequels or remakes, but that
he was
offered
attached to the original, the when they first was going to remake I Am Legend. He was attached to that project initially. I mean,
yeah, with Ridley Scott.
I'd see that. Arnold doesn't have to be an action hero in that. It's it's not the type of movie that I Am Legend would be.
No one's looking forward to a Terminator movie. I don't. If you are, good for you.
Well, I'm not. You're not.
No,
I don't know anybody that is, but yeah.
If they are, cool. But
yeah,
to
fine.
me, I would
That's
go
fine.
after Genesis. Why? After, which was supposed to be 2-3 movie,
and that didn't do that well anyway. So I'm like, why are you still doing this? Like, that was.
It didn't do. Exactly. That's why there's not going to be a sequel to Genesis. Because they're not bringing those characters back. I forget the actor's name.
That chick who looked like she'd 15 or so.
She was from Game of Thrones.
Something. Yeah.
From Game of Thrones, and the guy from
Emilia Clarke.
That sounds right, and the guy from Die Hard 5.
Jai Courtney.
Yeah, Jai Courtney. That was supposed to be. I mean, obviously, it didn't do that well.
Nope.
Because it was a shitty movie, and it gave everything away in the trailer, but it didn't do that well. Nope. So why are you going more with Terminator? I don't understand.
I don't get it either. They should terminate the Terminator franchise.
Like a lot of franchises. I love Indiana Jones. You don't need a part 5.
No.
Because I don't. I would love it to surprise me because I like the first 4, but that's the thing. I like the first 4 Die Hard films. Die Hard 5, I wanted so badly to like that I liked it in the theater.
You and me
saw
both.
it at home.
You and me both.
Home. It didn't hold up.
No,
because I love Bruce Willis. I like Die Hard. It did not hold up. Sadly.
I like
I don't
Death
want.
Wish more than Die Hard 5.
Well, that says something. I and for folks out there, I haven't seen Death Wish. The I don't want franchises to turn into that,
I
where
don't
oh
either.
now here's a really mediocre or just shitty or just badly made movie.
Mm,
It's okay to stop.
I agree. Another franchise I really honestly think should stop is Expendables, because apparently they're going to start filming the fourth one this summer as well.
I hate to say I don't look forward to it. The last one I truly liked was the first one. I'm sorry, folks. No, a lot of people like the second one. There's some who like the third one. I don't. I like Van Damme the second one. That's pretty much it. Maybe a little bit of Chuck
I would say
Norris.
I like the second one more than Matt
The me.
does, but it is a letdown compared to the first, and it does not hold up as well on repeated viewings. So, and three
And the
was just
third one was
shitty. Three was a fucking mistake, and I've lost all trust in the franchise after three, because it was just made PG-13 just to try to make some extra money, which is stupid. Because that's not the franchise was a love letter, supposed to be a love letter to the action films of the 80s and the R-rated action films of the 80s. And then they had this bullshit where they have the original team step aside so they have the new ones. So what, are they going to have the fourth one and the new team's going to have more screen time again? You had one guy from Twilight who shoots a gun. You had Ronda Rousey who just glares at people and does some UFC moves. You got this one other guy. Oh, the fucking tech wizard. Is he gonna show up again? Oh, but the guy who has a parachute that comes out of his ass. Like really, like. Are they gonna drop those characters? Is this gonna ignore 3, just like Terminator 6 is gonna ignore Genesis? Is this gonna be a prequel to the Expendables 3?
if you do if you do an Expendables film, you need to have a lot of changes, man. You need to be
Yes.
down and dirty. You need to go all practical or go home. You need to follow the title and make some of them expendable. Make the new
Kill
people
off Randy
expendable.
Couture.
Randy Couture, even Terry Crews,
Yeah, I like Terry Crews, but yeah, maybe. And
and keep it like down to like 4 or 5 guys. You have Stallone, you have Dolph, you have Statham, you have Jet Li, you have Wesley Snipes.
yeah,
Just have 4 or 5 people. The others have been killed, down and dirty, in the vein of Predator. I'm not saying it has to be a horror movie. I'm just saying the down and dirty
and if you
R-rated
want to have Arnold,
Predator
come
type.
in, maybe you could come in near the end and help out. But like, don't have him just be in like a helicopter or something. Don't have him just say old lines. Give him some new lines to say.
And give them a team of
Yeah.
worthy adversaries. Not
Yes.
just 1 or 2 against 50 good guys. Like Van Damme and Scott Adkins against everybody. Which is not fair for Van Damme and Scott Adkins. They're like facing everybody. Just everybody wants to be a good guy.
Yeah, they should get like a team of villains like Michael J. White. Trying
Mark
to think of some other
DeCosta's,
guys.
Olivier Gruner,
Yeah, DeCosco, Gruner.
even The Rock.
Yeah, that
Like
would
if
be that would be The
like
Rock is
Stallone
the
and The
main
Rock,
bad guy. The Rock is the villain, like he was in Doom.
which I like Doom. I know people disagree.
But that would be a nice change of pace for The Rock.
Yes, and
I'd
he
be
has a team
curious.
of
And he's friends with
yes,
Statham, so
and have it be like Stallone versus The Rock and Statham versus Olivier Gruner or Wesley Snipes versus Michael J. White.
I would love to see that fight. I just got chills thinking about that.
Blade versus Spawn, folks. There you
Yes.
go. Blade versus Spawn. That's why I thought of that. Right to sell. Who wouldn't want to see Blade versus Spawn?
I can't think of anybody who would want to see that. I know I would.
And get John Woo to direct it and let him do whatever the
Yes.
fuck he wants. Not the guy did a good job with the Hitman's Bodyguard, which surprised me. The
Yeah.
guy who did Expendables 3.
Yeah. That was surprising.
So was fucked with. I don't know,
Maybe he was fucked
but
up by Stallone or the other guys in the
I don't know.
cast or the
But
studio.
if you do it that way, cool. But they're not going to do it, so no thanks. I have no hope. Just the last one I liked was in 2010, eight
Yeah.
years ago.
Another sequel I don't really have a lot of hope for is Top Gun 2. I like Joseph Kosinski, but I'm just like, why? This is just, let's cash in on the name at this point. There's been like more Top Gun sequels to the video game Top Gun than there have been actual Top Gun sequels to the film Top Gun. There were too many sequels to that shitty video game on the Nintendo anyway. So it's like, we don't need a Top Gun 2. It's not even. I love Top Gun. It's one of my favorite films. It has my favorite soundtrack of all time. But what new. What if anything new is this film going to bring to cinema, let alone films like Top Gun? I mean, we already had a film like Top Gun that was similar to it that came out the same year in Iron Eagle. And that had like 3 sequels. We don't need another Top Gun. But maybe it'll surprise me. I don't know. Joseph Kosinski is a good director. Tom Cruise has a really solid track record as of late. Even the Mummy was terrible, but he wasn't the problem. So I don't know.
Well, apparently he had a lot of control behind the scenes, so maybe he kind of was the
Yeah, maybe
problem
he
in a
kind of
way.
was the problem. But then
Uh,
then again, his performance wasn't bad.
no, his
So
acting was no. Top Gun 2 will explore Maverick's role in a modern military, and Oblivion director Joseph Krasinski as they start shooting around July.
2019, yeah.
They say this July they're starting
hmm
for 2019 release.
I'm more curious about the other film that he's rumored to maybe be a part of, the Green Lantern Corps movie, where Christopher McQuarrie is being considered to direct it. And I hope he does get the job because he's a very talented director. And I'd be all for Tom Cruise playing Hal Jordan.
I think a lot of people would disagree with you on that.
Well, whatever. To each their own. They want Jon Stewart, and you can still have Jon Stewart because it's the Green Lantern Corps. It's not just Green Lantern, okay? It's the Green Lantern Corps. So you can have Tom Cruise play Hal Jordan. You can have Idris Elba play Jon Stewart, okay? Or some other actor if you're not, into Idris Elba. I think he's a great choice, though. And you have some other actors play the other Corps members. It's not just Green Lantern. It's just Green Lantern Corps.
It'll be
So,
Michael B. Jordan as Jon Stewart.
no, no, and then Coogler direct. No,
Yeah, right. I like Idris Elba a lot more.
he has more range than Michael B. Jordan.
That I've seen so far, yeah.
But yeah, I'd be curious. Tom Cruise is a Green Lantern. I think he might have been. Well, I know he's attached to Iron Man early on when New Line was thinking about doing an Iron Man film.
I I guess with me with any of these superhero stuff anymore, I'm so burned out.
Yeah,
I'm so indifferent. So I can't help Mike either way
it's fine. It's
on
fine.
this.
Apparently, Alicia Vikander is disappointed in Tomb Raider's lack of women in the cast.
What do you mean?
She reveals that she's disappointed that the upcoming reboot of Tomb Raider features just 2 principal roles for women.
Does she want them as the bad guys, or
I,
what's
I
the?
don't know. Like, it's something that I was just like, wow, really?
Was it like that in the game, which is based on?
I think there was a female villain, but it's one of those things that's like, it's a film with a female lead. There's another supporting role. Like, what, you want everyone 50%? Everyone needs to be like, all female cast. Like, I don't really get. This is the kind of thing that really makes the people who are against forced diversity, like, it really makes them even more upset because it's like, for fuck's sake, this is exactly what we're talking about. It's like, even if they make progress, and the people who are all about diversity no matter what, and when there is progress being made, there's more films with female leads. That's not enough.
Yeah, just sometimes complain about stupid shit. It is. I mean,
It is. It's dumb. It's
you get in the
stupid.
star. It shouldn't matter. It should matter who's the best for the role.
Yeah.
No
Well,
matter.
it's like what's going on with the proposed Batgirl film. Like, they're all throwing out female directors and all of this, and this is what Warner Brothers is looking for. A female director. Like, oh well, a guy can't direct the Batgirl movie. Like, I would be like, it shouldn't
Well,
be.
they tried. It was Joss Whedon, and then
Yeah, yeah.
all that shit happened. So
Well,
maybe that's why.
that's
Maybe
why
that's
they're like
why.
Joss Whedon. But I mean, maybe it's I wouldn't let Joss Whedon deter them from.
Fine, if they want a woman director, fine. If she makes a good movie, but if she sucks like Patty Jenkins sucked in Wonder Woman, I don't care.
But a lot of people says she's great.
Well, okay, I haven't seen Monster. That seems like a good movie. A lot better than Wonder Woman. I'm sorry, Wonder Woman sucked, in my opinion.
Well, I agree too.
Doesn't matter if you're a woman or a guy. Anybody can make a shitty movie. I blasted many male directors for making shitty movies every
Yeah,
year.
I'm just saying, hire the right person for the job, regardless of gender. That's my
Right,
thing. Don't just go, oh, we're gonna hire somebody to direct this just because of their gender or just because of their race. That's stupid.
right.
Call it controversial,
Then you
whatever.
have Patty Jenkins. I'll keep Catherine Bigelow.
Yeah.
Much better director, in my
Yep.
opinion,
So
than Patty.
apparently, the Star Wars: The Last Jedi, there were some deleted
Shit.
footage that was shared online.
Luke taking a shit.
No, it was like a longer, extended action sequence with the what's her name, the stormtrooper chick, and yeah, it's a much longer fight scene with Phasma.
Whoop the fucking do.
I know.
I'm impressed. I just shit my pants. I'm just like, fuck the last Jedi. Fuck the last shithead. Fuck the bonus.
Yeah. So this is an interesting one. Apparently, Carl Urban has said that Alex Garland is the one who actually directed Dread.
I heard this, yes. That was not the director Pete Travis who had directed Vantage Point. That Alice Garland, he was a creative force behind it. I mean, it sounds like Poltergeist, honestly, where one was like the producer or writer, I guess,
Yeah.
was really the director. I'd love to hear Pete Travis's thoughts on it.
Yeah, I would
He's
too.
kind of being put under the bus.
That's crazy. We're getting like a poltergeist situation with Dread of all things. Yeah, I definitely would like to hear from Pete Travis because it's one of my favorite films of the past few years or so,
Yeah,
and I would really like to have that resolved. I do not want to have something like with Poltergeist with Dread, where it's like, well, we don't really know who directed it. This guy says he did it, but then it said no. I really would like to.
I want his side of the story.
Yeah, I want his side of the story because we never really got to hear.
Pete Travis really talk about it.
No, and we never
I don't
really
even know
got to
what
hear
he's done.
Toby's unfiltered side of the story,
It never will, Sally. We're
or
told.
anything from Spielberg either. So,
Well, he's too
well,
busy
except
stealing.
his lawyers do the talking. That's what happens.
He's too busy stealing more stuff.
And cock blocking whatever any fan tries to do with Poltergeist. So you want to write a making of book? Nope.
That's why he's Steven Spielberg.
But yeah. And also, speaking of Dread, Carl Urban still wants in on the Mega City 1 TV series, but they mentioned it, but it doesn't seem like it's having a lot of progress.
I can't say I'm surprised. I'm not surprised. Sadly, people didn't support it when it came out. This is what you get.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you get.
We supported it though. I mean,
Yeah.
I sat in the theater and dealt with a fire alarm that went off in the middle of the movie, and it still didn't ruin my experience.
Well, thankfully I didn't have to deal with that, but it was a great experience in the theater in 3D.
Yeah, still I would say the best 3D I've seen. I mean, Ghost in the Shell was
Great.
really close too. That was really really amazing. But
My favorite is probably Gravity for 3D, but second
Gravity had some
closest
great
Dread.
3D. It's just I don't know. Dread for me it was just like the 3D tricks that it did. I thought were
It was great too.
so yeah. Apparently, Ric Flair is going to make his movie debut in an R-rated wrestling comedy.
Hmm. Well, hopefully it's not some cheap direct to video. I mean, I'm sure it'd be
It
just a
probably
cheap
will
direct to
be.
video thing.
It's a WWE Studios film.
No.
No, it isn't. I got you, but I know you would have been like, yeah, that would not surprise me. But no.
No, I wouldn't.
What is surprising though is that John Travolta is playing a bad guy in a film called Moose that is written and directed by Fred Durst.
Rolling, 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 rolling. Okay. Weird title.
Mm-hmm.
Moose. Does he voice a moose?
It's an R-rated.
Killer moose?
It's an R-rated parody of Bullwinkle.
It's the uh,
Moose
spoof of
Jaws.
Jaws that they beat Kevin Smith to it. And John Travolta's the moose, but he's playing it like a Broken Arrow.
Yeah. Ain't he cool?
I had good luck with the movie. Fred
Yeah.
Durst. Didn't know he was directing movies.
So, Men in Black spin-off / reboot apparently will begin shooting this June as well, rumored to star Chris Hemsworth.
I like Chris Hemsworth, but his track record sucks with reboots.
Vacation.
Red Dawn, Ghostbusters.
Vacation.
I mean, Vacation.
Where he was just there to be like, oh look, I have a big dick. And then he was just a himbo in Ghostbusters.
That's not really a good track record.
No.
Vacation, Ghostbusters, Red Dawn.
Absolutely.
Maybe that should tell you to stay away from reboots, Chris Hemsworth. Has he done a movie outside Thor that was a hit? That's a question.
I don't know.
And I like Chris Hemsworth, but like maybe Cabin in the Woods was it kind of a hit, but it's not like a huge hit, but probably made a little bit of money, maybe. But it's like, but he wasn't even really the star of that either. Yeah. But like the one with Black Cat, that flopped. Red Dawn flopped. Ghostbusters.
The biopic he did where he was a race car driver?
Rush. I think that's Ron Howard. I don't think that did well. Could be wrong on that. But even that movie that came out this year with the 12 Strong or something.
Oh yeah. That didn't do well.
Yeah, Rush was a flop. It cost $38 million and made $26 million. 12 Strong made $45 million. Doesn't say what the budget is. The Huntsman, that was a sequel that flopped. And The Heart of the Sea, that cost $100 million and made 25.
Whoa, that's a big bomb.
That's a big bomb. From Ron Howard. Vacation. Black Cat, that was a big bomb because that cost 70 million and made 8 in the US.
Damn.
It made 19 worldwide. I still haven't seen Black Cat,
I
and I
guess I
like
guess if he's not Thor,
I like Michael Mann, but I didn't see Black Cat. Yeah, apparently Red Dawn was a big flop. Rush cost 38, May
if
26th.
Chris Hemsworth is not playing Thor, it's not good.
Since 2011, Thor, like the biggest hit he's had outside is Cabin in the Woods, which made 42 million. And he wasn't even the star. Well, I guess Snow White and the Huntsman
Yeah.
in 2012. Rush, Black Cat, Vacation, and The Harder to See, Huntsman, Winter's War,
Maybe it'll
Ghostbusters.
do all right because it's Men in Black, and I'm allergic to
Bless you.
bullshit apparently. So
Well, I'm sure they thought the same with Ghostbusters, but that didn't work out.
nope. I think they would have had a better idea of doing the 22 Jump Street crossover. To be perfectly honest.
I'd be more curious just to check out the trailer and then see.
Well, I mean, because you got those two, they already have great chemistry. They're already great together, Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum, which is honestly one of the big reasons why Men in Black was such a hit and worked so well is because of the chemistry between Will Smith and Tommy Lee
Tommy Lee
Jones.
Jones. Yeah,
I just can't
I,
imagine a Men in Black film without Will Smith. It's just like it's not. It's like Independence Day without Will Smith. It just doesn't. Or a Bad Boys film
as
without
we
Will
saw,
Smith.
that did work.
No, that didn't work
But the
either.
sequel,
And there was a Hemsworth in it.
Surges.
It seems like
Yeah,
it's just
Liam,
box office poison. His last name, like if it's
not Thor. If Thor's not in it.
well, not even. I mean, even like just the last name Hemsworth. Because think about it. I mean, Expendables 2, I guess, did pretty decent.
Well, Liam Hemsworth, I think he's part of the Hunger Games or something.
Yeah.
And
Okay. All right. Yeah. But if it's not the Hunger Games, not doing that well. So.
no,
And do you see anybody banging down Liam Hemsworth's door to star in a movie? Nope.
I hope not. 'Cause I think he sucks. But
Yeah. So Vin Diesel's gonna star in Sony's Bloodshot movie, which is based on a Valiant comic. I know very many people that even know who Bloodshot is. So we'll see how that does.
I
Vin
don't know
Diesel's
what it
another
is.
guy. If it's not Fast and the Furious lately, not doing that well in the box office. I mean, even the Triple X film didn't do that well. The sequel. So
No, and it deserved not to do well.
the Last
I
Witch
just
Hunter, that was a bomb.
yes, it was
Babylon
Riddick,
AD.
LAD, the last Riddick movie,
Mm-hmm.
which sucked.
Apparently, Kristen Wiig is going to play the villain in the new Wonder Woman film.
Cheetah.
Chitara. No,
What do you? I think it's Cheetah,
it
whatever.
might as well be Chitara. It's basically the same thing as the Thundercats character.
Did like the first one, so I can't say I'm looking forward to the sequel.
Carl Urban is apparently open to playing Batman.
Cool.
I've also heard rumors that possibly after Aquaman, DC, Warner Brothers might completely reboot everything. Don't
Yeah,
know for
with
sure.
the Flashpoint paradox.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like what they're doing.
They just start over and recast everybody.
Yeah,
How do you feel about that?
at this point I just don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care if they reboot it, they do whatever. I just
yeah.
this Flash sucks, so I don't care to see his movie.
Yeah, I don't
Paradox
either.
and
Although I do like
whatever.
the directors, it's just yeah, no, I don't care for
Why?
the
Who's doing the Flashpoint paradox?
the Flash movie. It's the guys who did Game Night.
Oh,
That's what I
okay.
heard.
Well, I didn't see Game Night, but I've seen your review, but I haven't seen the movie. But
But yeah, it's one of those like I don't like the guy. I don't like the Flash. He's a dick, and he's not. I think he's a bad actor too. So, want to be Justin Long.
Yeah.
There's a rumor that Danny Boyle will direct Bond 25 if the script is approved. I don't know about that. Doesn't seem like he has a lot of experience directing action, but neither did I think the other guy. So we'll see. And Sherlock Holmes 3, according to Robert Downey Jr., is still in the works. Like he still plans on doing it. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I'd be one of the first that's gonna be excited to see it if it happens, but yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if I mentioned this, but they are making a movie of that game, Five Nights at Freddy's, written and directed by Chris Columbus.
What? Chris Columbus?
Chris Columbus,
Wow.
right? Writing and directing it. Chris Columbus from
I don't know.
films
I'm
like
just burned out on Five Nights at Freddy's, man. And also, it's way too late. It's like way after its peak. It's like the upcoming Slender Man movie.
well, it's going to be produced by Blumhouse,
Oh, okay.
Blumhouse Studios. And of course, for those out there who don't know, Chris Columbus, he directed films like Home Alone,
He
Home
also
Alone
wrote
2,
scripts like Gremlins.
Mrs. Doubtfire, and he also did Pixels.
Yeah, he directed that
So,
again. If I remember
yeah,
correctly. Oh yeah,
he did
I
Pixels.
forgot he directed that. Chris. So yeah, if you're excited for his Five Nights at Freddy's movies, remember he directed Pixels.
Yes, he did.
Um, there's another film that's there's some news that's distressing that I'm fucking sick of this shit, and I'm sick of this little shit. The Great Outdoors remake with Kevin Hart.
Ah, yes. Kevin Hart's.
He's the little shit I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't find the guy funny.
I
I
like
mean,
Central Intelligence, but that's
so
not.
did
The
I.
Rock was the best part about it,
But
and
I will
Hart
admit, I
was
thought,
tolerable because I guess the director said, "Calm the fuck down, take a chill pill, turn it down from 11. I want you to be about a 6." And there we go. Also, his character wasn't an asshole, so that's another thing. I mean, his character in Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, is a dick. He threw his friend off a cliff.
yeah, that's what happened. And
In these other movies, he's a dick too, but I guess he's gonna play. My guess is he's gonna play the John Candy role. And the rumors are that it's gonna be an all black cast film. So
okay,
so it's gonna be like, who's your caddy? The black exploitation version of Caddyshack, or the
the
Honeymooners.
honeymooners. Yeah.
Yeah, those worked out so well. But About Last Night, he did that remake of About Last Night. Yeah, a film I don't remember. I know Rob Lowe was in it. I think James Belushi had a cameo role in it. Demi Moore, I think, was in that. About Last Night.
I haven't seen the original
Yeah, like that's
about
one that's
last
not
night.
like as much in the public consciousness as a classic like The Great Outdoors or the rumored remake he's attached to of Missed Outfire.
Well, of course, people, you know what people will be like, oh, The Great Outdoors, that's not a classic.
I think it is.
Talk. I know, I enjoy the film,
I think it's a
that's what people don't
classic
say.
because in terms of like it's not my favorite John Candy film, but it's still a good John Candy movie, and it's John Candy is essential to that film's success.
Didn't they say they're going to do an Uncle Buck one as well?
Yeah,
Or
yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, and they did it,
but
but they did that shitty TV show. They did
maybe that's what it was.
with
And
the
it didn't
all
work.
black cast.
And obviously, it didn't work because I haven't heard a fucking thing about it.
No, but The Great Outdoors,
Kev-
it's like
Kevin Hart's. I just looked at the track record, folks. I did not like him in Grudge Match. I did not like Ride Along. I didn't see Ride Along 2 because of that, which I know Mike saw.
You don't need to see Right Along 2. It has
I,
marginally better action sequences. That's
I
it.
saw I saw it get hard. I got soft. I've seen, Central Intelligence I didn't mind. Jumanji 2 sucked dick. I'm just
I don't understand his popularity. It's the craziest thing. It's like I don't
all
mind
I
him as like
remember
a guy who's there in small doses interviewing sports stars. Like I've been watching this series he does called Cold as Balls, but as an actor in feature films, he just
cold as balls.
yeah, because they get
Okay,
in ice tubs and talk.
right. So they have
Yeah,
to name it cold as balls.
yeah, I
Fine.
know. Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
the name's not the best. But either way, he seems to be fine in that role. But and I didn't mind some of his stand up, but he's it's like he's the next Eddie Murphy, but he has none of the talent when it comes to acting that Eddie had. And he's nowhere near as funny, as naturally funny and charismatic.
So he said that's Carrot Top.
But Carrot Top never was this big. So.
I know, but for unfunny and not talented, he's that's Carrot Top to us. Fucking annoying too.
I guarantee in the Great Outdoors remake, there's going to be scenes where he's going to have his eyes open really wide, his mouth open.
But it's fucking
There's going to
annoying. I mean,
be
that's
a comedy scene that I'm supposed to laugh at where it shows, because
you
he's
should
short,
do
he's going to fly like a ton
you
of
shouldn't
feet
do that
across the
stuff and
room.
be funny. I mean, Damon Wayans in Major Pain.
Yes.
You watch Major Pain, that's hilarious to this day. The way he plays the character, the way he acts, the lines of dialogue Major Pain has.
Well, even in just a small scene in Blank Man where the whole "I warned you, Susan" bit, that's funnier than a lot of Kevin Hart's stuff. And all Damon Wayans does is just have this just ridiculous yell, the ridiculous scream. But
And
yeah,
I forget who was the other actor in Blank Man, his
David Allen
brother.
Greer.
Yeah, he was good, and there are good actors and comedians that are much better. Chris Rock doesn't
Yes.
even didn't even get this
I mean, in
popular.
Chris Rock, a lot of his
He's more
films weren't
talented.
weren't really that great, but
No, sadly.
he's more talented.
Right.
I mean, CB4 is funnier and better, in my opinion, than the majority of Kevin Hart's films. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I don't get it. His success just doesn't. And I know black friends who are like, I don't get it either. I don't like Kevin Hart. So and if this Great Outdoors remake happens, it's gonna suck. It's just a trend I don't like. This fucking remaking shit from the '80s. Just stop. Didn't we already get this kind of thing though with the "Are We There Yet" sequel anyway? And that was terrible. We don't need
With Ice Cube, yeah.
we don't need another "Are we done yet" situation here. Because that's exactly what it's gonna be like if there's a remake of The Great Outdoors with Kevin Hart.
Are we
It
fucked yet?
and it's such a downgrade. You go from John Candy to Kevin Hart.
I I don't know, man.
That's an F. That's an F grade. A product. You downgrade in terms of the product. You go from an A to an F. But anyway, yeah, just had to mention that. And apparently, Deadpool 2 had a screening. Fox had a surprise screening. And there was this guy on Twitter named Jeremy Conrad who apparently got to see or he heard something about the first movie. Like, about the, not the first movie, about the screening. Um, Now, it's kind of fishy about what actually is going on. It seems like he didn't actually see it, but he's all like, Fox screened Deadpool 2, and he says, yikes, first reaction wasn't expected to hear. And then some guy asked him about it, and then he replied, and he said about a half hour longer than the first movie. I don't have an issue with that. First movie was
Wait a
only an
minute, how?
hour.
What do you mean he didn't see the movie?
I'm trying to. I don't know for sure. Like I'm thinking like maybe he was just like reciprocating what some stuff happened in Fox. Um, but this guy who posted this news, he's receiving legal action from Fox, despite never receiving signing an NDA or being at the screening himself. So he wasn't actually at the screening. So this is like take this with a huge, gigantic grain of salt, folks, because this is just some guy who apparently he might have some access to people or know some people who are able to go to screenings or whatever, but somehow he has some access to some this kind of aspect of Hollywood and whatever the
Uh huh.
pre-screening process. And so he's just reiterating, I guess, something that either some people said or some of the screening people said at the screening. I don't know for sure. First off, even if this is true, I remember hearing nothing but good things about all these DC movies that came out lately during their screenings, and those are pieces of shit. There have been plenty of films that have had positive screenings,
Oh yeah, Batman and versus Superman.
and then they've been terrible. Fucking train wrecks that have just been awful. So I don't really put a lot of stock in reactions from screenings. In fact, there are some films that get screened and the reactions aren't the best, and then the studio fucks with them and makes them worse. Like the reactions could be like, eh, but then they're like, oh, it wasn't unanimously great, so let's fuck with shit and just ruin the movie, really. And there's even been stories I've heard, from interviews and like books that I've read for certain directors and certain films I've worked on, and that they were proud of the product, and there were people in the audience that just were not the right people for this type of film. It's like when you have a horror film and those people who are being screened are like old, like a slasher movie, and the people being screened are like older people. They're not even the right audience. It's like this. I'm not saying there aren't older people, like who are into, but like if you're screening the
Well,
film to like the crowd that's into like the art house films, no, you're gonna get nothing but negative reviews. I mean,
well, I mean, I've also heard that certain movies like The Predator got good test screenings, and
but
I
then I
called
heard
shit.
opposites. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so
So
what
Jeremy
apparently is
Conrad says
supposed
this. He says he says it was about a half hour longer than the first movie. I don't care. That's fine. The movie was on an hour and a half. I mean, it depends on what is in that extra half hour. If it's more action, I'm cool with that. If it doesn't affect the pacing too much, doesn't bother me.
with a movie like that, yeah, longer is fine with me.
No plot for a good chunk of it. What do you mean by no plot? Is it do you mean it's not a film that has like a shit ton of plots within a plot and is just simple and straightforward and then develops the plot as the film goes on and doesn't hold my hand from
Was the
the
first
get go?
Deadpool big plot? I
No,
mean,
not really.
he gets cancer and tries to cure it. Comes Deadpool.
Yeah.
I mean, they just
Well, I mean, look at the
tried
plot for
his girl
Batman
back.
'89. Batman '89, it's not like a super complex plot.
Commando.
Yeah.
But they took my daughter. I kill everybody. That's the plot. There you go.
Exactly. Somehow, somewhere, someone's gonna pay. Maybe somehow, some way, yeah, somewhere. But yeah, yeah, that doesn't bother me. I'm sorry. Like, no plot for a good chunk of it. Like, it depends on the context. Vanessa's wasted. As long as they don't kill her off, as long as they don't kill her off and just have her, die off screen or some shit, I'm all right with it. It's not all about her anyway. I liked her in Deadpool, but if they put her to the side for more scenes with Cable and Deadpool or Domino, I have no issue with it. I really don't. Then he said credit scenes are the best part of the whole thing.
Okay.
Then again, this guy, Jeremy Conrad, he used to work at IGN. Now, IGN is not the best.
Oh, that's isn't that a place that gave like 2016 Ghostbusters a
Yeah,
7 out of
give it a
10.
7 out of 10. They're the ones that have been infamous for their just terrible game reviews lately, where they've just been paid off by people to write positive reviews for shitty games. So
Oh, Last Jedi 9.7 out of 10. IGN. That says it all for me.
yeah.
9.7 out of 10. Last Jedi. That's almost perfect. It's an almost perfect movie, right? Last Jedi. It's an almost perfect movie.
Well, I'm sure Black Panther got really good.
Well, no, I'm talking about The Last
Oh,
Jedi,
the
though.
Last
The
Jedi.
Last
Yeah,
Jedi.
yeah. Well, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, The Last Jedi. 9.7 out of 10.
That's ridiculous. It's not
The
a nine
Last
point.
Jedi is
I
almost a
mean,
perfect
that's your
movie.
opinion. That's their opinion. They're entitled
Yeah,
to
that's
it.
your opinion,
I don't
but
agree with it at
the
all.
fact that I disagree so much means I probably don't really my my opinions probably don't follow theirs
No,
if their opinions are the
but then
result
again, I
of.
don't know exactly when he worked for IGN, but I know he worked for IGN, which is a red flag to me. But anyway, it's just this guy
Fuck IGN.
parroting some opinion that somebody had. Don't even know for sure if it's everyone at the screening who felt this way. Didn't know if it's. We don't know anything. So, folks, don't freak out. There's absolutely no reason to do that. I mean, I know there's already people like, oh, well, yeah, I'm not surprised.
Well,
Well,
you
I
know
was
what?
worried about it.
If critics don't like it, it makes me want to see the movie. Just sort of the shit lately.
Yeah, but it's like,
Maybe it's like, oh, it's fun and it's not trying to fucking political size and good.
it's got a lot of action and jokes.
There's people shooting, and we don't like that because you gotta have a message. And be like, don't be a Mrs. South Central and Tina always come out message. That's what a lot of movies nowadays. It's
Well,
like
yeah, that's what a lot of critics. They're journalists. They're
when
not
you watch
actual critics. They're journalists. They've been trained by their film studies professors to be looking for messages and
like your
deep
professor,
themes in
like your
films.
professor,
Yes, exactly. I'm
just
taking this
watch
foreign film class, and I can't talk about the other aspects of the film. I can't talk about the cinematography. I can't talk about the editing. I can't talk about the acting. I can't talk about the quality of the film in my writing. I have to talk about what is the themes that are presented in the movie. What are the deeper? That's the issue. When you have people going to film school and they become film critics and they're being beaten over the head with this themes and deep thoughts and it needs to have a message. When you have films like the first Deadpool or Shoot 'em Up or whatever, they're all like, I don't know what to do, and then they're like, well, my professors told me this, so it must suck. This sucks. There's no message. There's no deeper themes. Not
Deep
everything.
Thoughts
Not
by
everything.
Jack Hand.
Yeah, not everything has to have a deeper theme or deep thoughts in it. Sometimes it's just a
Not
fun
e-
popcorn movie.
not everything has to be by Jack Hand.
No,
So,
but yeah, I mean, seriously, I when I saw this, I saw so many people freaking out on a Facebook group I'm on with like film fans, and I'm like, cool your tits, okay, calm down, take a chill pill.
well, that okay? It's a longer film. If it's a film I'm looking forward to, sure,
Yeah,
I'm fine with longer.
if the film
Vanessa,
sucks,
I'm sorry. It's not like I love Deadpool for Vanessa.
yeah,
I'm sorry, folks.
uh-huh.
I don't know many people that saw Deadpool was like, you know who I love, Mike? I love Vanessa.
I really
That's
liked
why I
her.
love
I
Deadpool.
thought she had good
Yeah, she's
chemistry
fine in the movie, but I'm not.
with Ryan
I
Reynolds,
don't.
but yeah.
I didn't find many people that came out of Deadpool going, you know, my favorite part, Vanessa. I mean, I'm fine with that. And then the best part is the credits. That doesn't tell me anything. That doesn't tell me what you didn't like about the movie.
But it's because he didn't
The-
see the movie. That's why.
So
It's
this is completely pointless, and you should shut the fuck up. What's his point? Why
exactly.
put on Twitter? I didn't see the movie, but
Here's some thoughts from someone that did and didn't like it.
well, I mean, technically we all can do that because we haven't seen movies. It's just
Yeah, but like
But
this
that's the
is
thing. People take us with people who listen to us and listen to other people. They still make up their own mind. They still make up their own thoughts. Be like, okay, cool. It's not like it's the end all be all.
no. And that's the thing. I'm just trying to let people know. I know there's a lot of people going to think for themselves and be like, "Well, I don't care. Like I'm still going to see the movie." This
Yeah.
is one guy's opinion that is being shared by this other guy who didn't even see the movie. And a lot of this just being shared on different publications online, and it has like these clickbait titles like Deadpool 2 is a mess according to the screening, and it's like, no, it's not. It's according to like one opinion from one guy. I don't even know if it's really verified. Maybe it is. Maybe even if it is, it doesn't matter. It's one opinion.
Well, that's the thing. When these guys work for these companies, they desperately need views. They
Yes.
desperately need a
They need
quota of
clicks.
articles that they need to write on a daily basis. So they'll take anything they can find and create whatever
Mm-hmm.
title because they want you to see it. Because the more people who see it, the more they
Yeah.
see the ads and the more money they make.
Clickbait journalism. The death of
And
journalism. um, but yeah, I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna be one of the first people to see it, and I'll be one of the first people to tell you if it's great, if it's or if it's shit. And if it is as bad as this guy's saying it is, I won't hold back because I am a huge fan of Deadpool. I love the first one. This is my most anticipated film of this year. I anticipate this sequel more than Infinity War. And if this is bad, that would be crushing.
but I find it weird that this guy's he heard it's a bad movie, and the worst he can say is it's too long and Vanessa.
Yeah, and the
Like that's
credit
the
scenes are the best part.
if if that's the worst the movie is, then man,
Well, he said
it's
the
an.
credit scenes are the best part, though. So the other stuff, and I'm like, what about the action? Because that's the thing I'm really
But that's the
curious
thing that he
about.
didn't say
No,
mention any of that. You would think that'd be if you're going to put Twitter,
yeah,
that would be like people. What are the jokes? What are the action?
yeah,
And neither.
no. And it also brings to mind the whole story behind the production of this film. That Tim Miller was rumored to be forced out of the director's chair because Ryan Reynolds and him clashed. I don't know what the specifics of that is. Nobody really knows for sure. Don't know if it's, Ryan Reynolds wanted more fart and dick jokes. I don't know if that's the case or not. I have no idea. I don't know the facts of that situation. I know Tim Miller left, but I'm like, it's not like Tim Miller is irreplaceable. He did a good job with Deadpool. I'm
He's
not
busy
taking that
with
away from him.
Sonic.
I'm not
He's
taking
busy,
that. Gotta
he's
go
busy
fast.
helping make the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. So I guess
No,
they should be praising Sonic the Hedgehog movie since they love Tim Miller so much.
but I wasn't. I'm not taking anything away from Tim, but if it's true that he wanted to take it in a more artistic direction and he wanted to have more serious character moments, there are comics in Deadpool that do have serious character moments, but there has to be a balance. And if he was trying to do some artsy thing, out of the box thing with the sequel, then I'm all for Ryan Reynolds being like putting his foot down and saying no. That's not what Deadpool is about. That's not what the audience wants to see. Because that's not what I want to see.
That sounds like Evapion with Cyborg. Try to be arty and
But I don't know the whole specifics of that either. But I'm gonna
I
say,
know because I saw the director's cut.
well,
He
I know
wanted to be
that.
fucking
I'm
artsy
talking
arty
about.
for. Oh, okay.
I
You're
don't know
talking
the
about
whole
Dead,
specifics of the whole thing with whether what it really was. I just
Deadpool.
heard that it was he was going to take it in a more artistic direction. He was going to try to have more character more character, deep character moments, serious character moments in it. And so I don't know the specifics of that. But then again, I'm going to bring up Ant-Man. I was worried, just as everyone else was, when Edgar Wright was forced out of the project. The new guy came in, and the film was a huge surprise, and I really enjoyed it. So I would say, before you say, "Oh, Ryan Reynolds is a dick," Ryan Reynolds force Tim Miller out of the director's chair. Yeah, it's gonna suck because Tim Miller got forced out by Ryan Reynolds, and Ryan Reynolds just wants more dick and fart jokes. Remember what happened with Ant-Man. Also, give Ryan Reynolds some more respect, especially if you're a fan of Deadpool, because without Ryan Reynolds, we don't have the Deadpool movie. He was one of the driving forces behind that movie even getting made in the first place. Okay? Other than the guy who leaked the test footage online. But he's also responsible for a lot of the jokes and stuff that you love from the first movie.
Well, who knows? He might have been the guy who leaked the test footage
Yeah,
on
who
that.
knows? Maybe it was Ryan Reynolds. I don't know. I mean, and Ryan Reynolds was really instrumental in the film getting made and also the film being as successful as it was. Do not forget that. Don't just look at Tim Miller and be like, "Oh, he's the reason why everything was so great." That's honestly discounting Ryan Reynolds because he's a huge fan of this character. He knows this character in and out, and I trust Ryan Reynolds. So we'll see if if that's a statement that I will have to end up taking back later or not. But I really don't see that happening. But we shall see. I'll see when I see the movie. But all the trailers I've seen, I've enjoyed. I've had fun with. The advertising campaign is once again picking up where it left off, and being clever and funny and witty. And the new director, I think, is an upgrade.
Yeah.
If you want to see more artistic shots, I think he can do that better than Tim Miller can. This is the same guy who did Atomic Blonde, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah.
And I know you're
Which,
not a big fan of that movie, but you have to admit, if you want to talk about artistic shots, like at least he has experience doing that and
yeah.
had some really great looking visuals in Atomic Blonde. So, and in the John Wick series. So,
The first, yeah,
the
John
first
Wick,
film.
yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. Tim Miller, Deadpool was his directorial debut. Before that, I think he was a VFX guy or a stunt coordinator or something. So good job for directorial debut. But I'm gonna take. I think it's David Leitich, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take David. I think it's an upgrade. But we'll see what happens. And I'm really looking forward to Deadpool 2. And this tweet does not deter me or hurt my excitement or my looking forward to ness at all of this movie. So speaking of stuff to look forward to or not look forward to, here we have a list of upcoming Shout Factory and Scream Factory releases. We
Yes.
have Breed Apart, which is coming out in June.
Yeah, from Shout Factory with Rudyard Howard, Powers Booth. At best, it's this
Yeah,
okay so-so movie. It's not a movie I'll pick up on
yeah,
Blu-ray, but
yeah. I don't know
it
what
was
there's not
there.
much of an audience for that one. But then again, I didn't think there was much of an audience for some of the other ones that are on here. Excuse me, I get indigestion just looking at the downfall of Shout Factory as of late.
People
They're
don't get mad.
literally becoming Anchor Bay
People
before
don't
they
get
got
mad.
bought out by Stars. I don't care. People get mad. People get pissed.
Don't get mad, get glad.
Don't get mad. Get glad. Yeah, I know. I know what you're gonna say. Oh, you don't have to buy them. I'm like, yeah, I wasn't gonna buy them anyway. So you're not. What you're just reiterating something I'm already gonna do. But that's not even the
Hey,
issue.
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
The issue is, yeah, I'm not gonna buy them. He's not gonna buy it. Matt's not gonna buy them.
No.
Pretty sure there's gonna be a lot of other people who are not gonna buy them. That's a problem.
Well, I rarely do this, but I'll look at the half full.
Mm-hmm.
The There are movies I want to see that not a lot of people would buy either. So if
Yeah,
someone happens to be a big fan of, say, A
yeah,
Breed Apart, which I don't
that's
think
cool.
ever was even had a
Yeah,
DVD,
that's cool. I mean, I'm not
cool,
trying to take that away either. I'm
that's
just
cool. But this is just our subjective opinion. This is not something we're interested in.
no.
and we can't fake and say, yeah, we're excited for this movie we're not going to buy.
Yeah, exactly. But
We're
I
excited for
mean,
this. Oh, you don't buy it? No. But
yeah.
then why are you excited? Well, we're not. Then why you say we're lying? So we'll give screeners. We'll get some free screeners. No, it's not going to happen. No, we're
uh,
not going to lie.
nah.
It's our subjective
But
opinion.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree with Matt too on that. If there's people who are big fans of Survive and really wanted to get that on Blu-ray, cool,
Which is like the exploitation version of Alive
awesome, great,
or
wonderful.
Alien Predators with Dennis
I don't want to
Christopher,
take that away from you, but
which
it's.
never had.
I just
But this is
personally
our opinion.
feel that I don't think this is the best business model to like, okay, we need to meet a certain quota. It doesn't matter what the quality or the demand for some of these titles are. If we can get the rights, if we can get them, we'll put them out there. It's like you're eventually going to run out of shit to release and you're going to run out of money. That's my thing. It's like people keep
Whether
saying DVD and Blu-ray physical media is dying enough as it is, and I know you have a big stake in the collector's market and you're doing well right now, but there might be more people who are gonna be like, I don't really want to get Alien Predators. There's gonna
for
be other people who are
23
gonna be like,
bucks.
I need to have every Scream Factory edition and the slipcover, and if I don't have the slipcover, I'm gonna pay some dipshit on eBay like $30-$40 for the slipcover. But okay,
Well, especially for let's one thing I can say is the prices are pretty big.
yeah,
I mean, $23 for something like Alien Predators. I don't see a lot of people,
or
even if they're
Demented.
curious, about the film. I don't see them paying 23 bucks for that curiosity. I see them going on YouTube or finding a download,
Yeah,
and then maybe they find the movie shit, and they're like, I'm not paying 23 bucks for that.
yeah,
But I mean, at least maybe some of these titles at least have a little bit cheaper price.
yeah,
At least for maybe that would help out if that becomes a problem in the future.
yeah.
Because even their quote deals,
Oh, their
not
deals on their
really
website are terrible.
cheap at all.
They have like a
There's no
sale, it's
deal.
like 50% off or something, and what they do is there's a price right now for Alien Predators is $22.99. What they'll do during the 50% off sale is they'll bump it back up to $27.99, and then they'll cut 50% off of that. Well, not. I don't think 50. I don't think if they ever do 50% off.
That's what I was saying. I don't
It's like
remember a
30%.
50%.
It's 20% off or something, and they
Yeah, I
cut that
never remember
off.
a 50.
And then
A
by the time
50% would be great.
yeah, 50% are great. I'm wrong.
I don't remember.
I'm fantasizing stuff that'll never happen. But well, I think it's like 20% off or 25 or something. They do that, and then it's just a little bit cheaper than what you'd get on Amazon,
Like $3 cheaper or something.
or like $1 or two. And it's like that's not
Well,
saving that much.
lo and behold, if you try to get them on Amazon or such, where I mean they're
Pre-orders are high.
pretty, yeah, they can be fairly spendy. I mean, and if it's a movie you really want, of course you
Yeah.
don't want to spend that. But it's just there's a lot of these
And I'm also
titles.
thinking I'm thinking this way. I love Scream Factory. I love Shout Factory. I don't want them to stop. I don't want them to have to like liquidate shit. I don't want them to go the way of Anchor Bay. This
I
is
don't even
what
know
it's
where
reminding
Anchor
me
Bay is
of.
nowadays.
Anchor Bay did this thing where they were releasing whatever, whenever, multiple different editions of certain movies, and it came back and bit them, and then they got bit. They had to, in order to survive, they ended up getting bought out by stars, and were never the same. So I don't want that fate to happen to Shout Factory, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so animated about this kind of stuff, because it's like
Right.
it's one of those things where I don't feel you have to continuously try to meet this quota every year. Cut back. Take some of that money you're using to put out a Blu-ray to Survive or Body of
Well,
Evidence
with Madonna.
and put it into titles that people are really interested in or really want, or like top titles for collectors, or just cut back period and then release those other titles later, like, so then you have more, you can release over the years instead of like doing a constant quota every year and then you start running out, which I think they're already starting to run out because you have these other competing studios, companies like Synapse, Severin, and so on and so forth, and Arrow's in the US now. So you have these
And
competing
supposedly
companies.
other companies coming, like there's this one called Unearthed
Yeah.
Films are
You
supposed to be
have the
coming
new
up with stuff.
MVD. MVD's a new up and coming company.
We're doing Lionheart and Abominable, and they
So
did
these are all
Black Eagle.
companies that are coming up or have been around or are in direct competition with you, and they're doing the same thing that you're doing, buying up all these different rights for all these cult exploitation films. Because that's where the money is. Well, if you keep releasing everything that you can get your hands on in terms of like, and no matter what the quality of the film is, no matter what the demand is, you're going to run out of titles to release. And then because of the competition that you have, you are already getting less titles by default than you did in the past because of the competition. So why not try to stagger some things a little bit so you can survive longer? That's just my thing. I mean, it's one of those things. Maybe they are in worse off shape than you think. Maybe they have to put all these titles out so they can just stay alive. Maybe that's the thing. Who
I
knows?
guess we'll find out sooner or
We'll find
later.
out sooner or later. But it's one of those things. It's. I just, if it ends up ending, so be it. They had one hell of a good run, but I don't think it needs to. That's my thing. It's frustrating to keep seeing this from them because it's like you you don't need to do this unless you do need to do it because you're tight on cash and you're not making as much as we think. And if that's the case, this is not going to end well.
No, not when you're releasing stuff like Ninja 3.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Ninja 3 is getting a collector's edition. And okay, all right, whatever. I know apparently there's some fans because on Facebook groups like, oh man, I'm really excited for this. I know another friend of mine's excited for it, and I'm like, I don't know anybody in my group that's excited for Ninja 3. People say, oh,
That
the
was
V8 scene, it was so sexy, and I'm like, you're ironically saying that. And that's the other thing. I don't get the, oh, let's buy a movie that's shitty because and give it some. It's like Troll 2. I get it, but Ninja 3 isn't even on the same level as Troll 2. Like Ninja 3 has a cool opening sequence on the golf course, and then I can laugh at a few things. But other than that, it's really not that good. It's honestly pretty cheap and lame. So it's an absurd concept. Exorcist meets Ninja, whatever. But it's like I wish Revenge of the Ninja had that treatment. That got the collector's edition. Like that movie deserves that. Like collector's Ninja 3 and it's not only that, they're re-releasing a title they already released, but they're putting in a considerable amount of money and resources into it. They're pumping in money to remaster it in 4K and all new features, which hey, I give them credit. They're at least putting an effort into their re-release, which I honestly do give them a lot of credit for. It's not just the same thing. But they're even doing that now anyway with their Steelbook releases of John Carpenter films. It's just the same Blu-ray that they already released before. Nothing new, nothing except that it's in a Steelbook case. So this is just the kind of thing where it's like, I don't understand the thought process behind this. It's like maybe, and then they say something like, "Oh, the sales for Ninja 3 were a lot better than we expected. So here's a 4K remaster of Ninja 3 with all these new features as well as the same old ones." It's not for me. If it's for you, cool. But I just
not for me.
putting that amount of money into that film of all things just blows my mind.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, this is our subjective opinion, just not our opinion. Not a film I would choose. No.
And then also, I mean, you have some of their other releases lately. Their collector's editions, like we already talked about the upcoming ones. They seem to be skimping out on some stuff. We're to put all the money into Ninja 3, but maybe they weren't able to get more interviews or features for some of those other films. But I don't know. I kind of find it hard to believe you can't get more for Behind the Mask. You know?
Yeah, that's very hard to believe. For like Behind the Mask, Rise of Lizzie Vernon, you can't get the guy who played Lizzie Vernon, or get the guy who
Like, what is he
directed it,
doing right
or
now? I mean,
I, you, I have no idea. It does. It shouldn't be Color Collector's Edition then,
yeah.
if that's all you have. I mean, we talked about this before. Session 9 had more fucking features. It
Mm-hmm.
seemed. And that was a Color Collector's Edition.
So we got Ninja 3, Curse of the Cat People, which is a sequel to the original Cat People. We get Night of Olympus. You know that
Yeah, that
film
one.
that's just considered to be a piece of shit and just laughably bad. Like it's people watch it just to laugh at it every Easter because it's a movie about giant killer bunny rabbits.
And this is a real movie, folks. Yeah,
Yes.
has McCoy, DeForest
Yep.
Kelly, and woman from the Birds. Jenna, no, not the Birds. Jenna Lee from Psycho.
Yeah.
Uh,
Of unknown
yeah,
origin, cool. That's great. But I don't. Is there going to be a lot of new features? Probably not. We shall
I
see.
mean, I look forward to his Blu-ray, but I doubt any features.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm like, cool. Like that's for me and
Uh
us,
huh.
cool. Really have an origin.
Wild at Heart, I can see that doing all right. I mean, I'm fine with that. That's a David Lynch film. It's got a cult following. I
So
can see the audience for that.
The Bill and Ted movies, they did a great job on that
I don't
set.
know why they're doing a steelbook.
But okay, but
Seems like it's just the first one.
carbon copy. I guess just Denzel Washington's in it, but it's a movie that I don't. I've never heard one person say I love carbon copy.
Well, as you can see, it's like 1897. Like it's one of the cheaper ones.
But even then, I never heard one
Well, I
person
mean,
go, "I
they were even
love
having a
carbon
hard
copy."
time. They had such a hard time selling their back stock of the Bill and Ted limited collection they had with the Rufus figure that they recently, like a few months ago, they slashed the price in half and then they finally sold it.
Hmm.
And now they're
Yeah.
releasing this steel book. And then you have like a Buckaroo Banzai steel book. And they just recently released Buckaroo, I think it was like a year ago or something on Blu-ray. But not in the steel book. I'm not. I'm a fan of Buckaroo Banzai, but I don't give a fuck about the steelbook. Okay, I have steelbooks and stuff, and they're cool. I don't understand the whole like I gotta have the steelbook thing, especially. I mean, I've noticed this. You get fingerprints all over those fucking things, scratches. If it gets shipped by some shitty USPS guy or UPS guy, it gets dented. It's crazy to me that as a steel book is less resilient than a old ass Terminator 2 DVD I have from Artisan.
The real steelbook.
Cause that's
Just
made
that's
out of
real
like some
steel.
heavy ass fucking metal. Like you know exactly what I'm talking about. That fucking
Yeah, I know. I have it. Yeah, that's some real steel there.
thing. But
And not
anyway,
not the shitty real steel, the actual real steel.
would you have a
But
steel book?
yeah,
Because I got Death Machine. I guess it's not a steel book. They say it's a some other thing, some other book. I'm like, it might as well be steel. Isn't it like technically metal? Like I don't. Looks like a steel book to me. But anyway, it's a live trilogy. All right, I like the films. Depends on the features. Otherwise, I'm fine with my DVD. Caged Fury, The House of Drip Blood, Cyborg, which they pushed that release back multiple times.
yeah,
Doctor Detroit. Why?
yeah. Did love you, Doctor Detroit.
Troll and Troll 2 double feature. I think that might do all right because there is a cult fan base for Troll 2. Although I think it would have been better just selling them separately. Full Moon High, Crucible of Horror, some film called Super Beast, never heard of, Behind the Mask, Blu-ray, Assault on Precinct 13, Nightmare at Noon, The Burbs, Rockula, which I guess is still going for $27.99 in Amazon. And there's even people on Facebook collector groups who are like, "Why isn't this gone down yet? Like it's kind of ridiculous." I got it, and that's your audience. Your core audience is being like, "I don't want to pay $27.99 for Rockula." Hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay $10 for Rockula, but never seen the fucking movie.
The
Don't
Gate
care
2,
to.
which is making me wonder what's next. The Hidden 2.
The Arrival 2. The second Arrival.
There's
That'd be
no
bad.
Arrival collector's edition. It's just it's Arrival 2.
They did Species too.
Interviews with
Species,
Patrick Muldoon.
or whoever the hell directed it, or wherever.
Oh man. But yeah, it's just I think that I truly do feel that they're starting to run out of titles to release because they're already re-releasing titles with limited edition or whatever steel books. They're re-releasing Ninja 3, but they are putting more effort into it. But it's still Ninja 3 again. Either they can't get the rights to as many big titles that they want. I know it's still early. We don't have like the summer stuff or whatever. They'll probably have some other titles. It just seems like the list of the titles that I really am interested in and the ones that I would really like to get is dwindling down by each and every year with this company.
Well, yeah,
While
there's
companies like Synapse and Arrow Video are going way up on my list.
right. Yeah, and even you have Second Sight Films in
Yes,
places overseas, and
really wonderful overseas. Second Sight Films, okay. This
Umbrella
is
Entertainment. That's another one.
this is what's making me think that there might be something from Scream Factory with Second Sight, because Second Sight has a history of releasing films in the UK first under their label, and then Scream Factory or Shout Factory or some other company gets the rights and then releases a Blu-ray. For example, the Blu-ray I have of Colors with Sean Penn is the exact same Blu-ray as the one that was released in the US by Shout Factory. The
Huh.
same thing applies to Ghost Story, the 1981 film. Exact
Right.
same Blu-ray.
Huh.
They're just region 2. They're region 2 locked. Now, there are differences like the Super Mario Brothers never got a release. But Streets of Fire, that got a release by Shout Factory. And I think there were some more features on that one than the one from Second Sight. But Second Sight still had a ton. Like it had like a nearly 2 hour long documentary. So that's more than enough. But Second Sight's a good company. I wish I had gotten the Creepshow Blu-ray they did when it was still available. But oh well, is what it is.
Right.
I have most of the features, if not all of them, on. Actually, I have all the features on the making of Creepshow Blu-ray that was released. I think it might have been Severin, I think, or Synapse, or one of those companies. It might have been Synapse. I don't know for sure. But anyway, so Second Sight announced The Changeling, with George C. Scott.
Yes.
So that's really awesome. Now that gives me hope that maybe Scream Factory might be releasing it down the road in the
Well,
U.S.
I've heard it was Severin
Or it's Severin
Films.
Films. And if it's Severin Films, good for Severin. Scream missed out. They weren't able to get it. The competitor beat them out.
Or there was another company called Unearthed Films that was
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be releasing Unnameable, and then I don't know what the company is, but overseas in Germany, they're releasing a Blu-ray of the Unnameable under the title The White Monster, which I've never heard that
That sounds
before, but
like. It sounds terrible. The White Monster.
but hoping that release, then that means maybe the release by Unearthed Films will follow soon
Yeah.
and they're doing the Dark Side of the Moon apparently.
Yeah.
And uh, I'll mention this. There's some guy on GoFundMe for Blue Monkey, and I don't know how legitimate he is.
Now I heard rumors though. Well, I don't know if it's a rumor. I think it's confirmed that Code Red tried to do a crowdfunding thing in the past for Blue Monkey, but it didn't go well because they were vague. And then I was like, well, Code Red is the guy who runs Code Red has a notorious reputation for being a total ass bag. So maybe that's why it didn't go well.
But yeah, some guy on GoFundMe
Maybe it's
called
the guy
William.
who runs Code Red.
Well, for those who know Crow Red, is it William Olson? Because that's his name from Bellevue, Washington. This is the only thing he's created on
Maybe I
GoFundMe.
should try to ring him up.
He's asking, he's asking for $50,000, and I don't know. He can't
His
spell for some
description's
reason.
comical, really.
I mean, I'm not trying to ridicule the guy, but if you're trying to be serious, you can't be like, update, respond, so far. You mean response? Respond, so far downright nasty. Movie is now worth $25 in shipping? My other label can get 150,000? Okay, what other label are you talking about? I never paid for money, but way too many people tell me this is the quickest way to get product out there. This idea was stupid and canceled. That was his one update.
Yeah,
Like,
was stupid and canceled. Yeah, because Code
I mean,
Red
you
tried to
can't.
do it earlier.
And then on the story, he says, "The 1987 production was requested many times from the fans of film during the DVD era." Not he had spelled during. He says during. Like,
Uh, Not very
why should I
professional.
give this guy $30? Like, I don't
Yeah,
know who the guy is, and why does he not ask Stream Factory?
yeah.
Like, that's what I mean. What are the reasons behind it? Like, why is this
Is he not going
guy?
to get as much of a cut? Is that why, or something?
And that's the thing. Like, maybe this is what's wrong with Stream Factory. This we want to know, folks. Tell us.
Yeah.
We be happy to know.
Or they're like
I
have
know they can't
separate
get
guys who
Paramount.
like get prints and then hold on to them and then don't sell them to certain distributors because they don't get a certain amount of money.
Hell,
Is
Street
that
Fighter,
it?
talk to Fred Olin Ray and get him in touch with MGM to do Deep Space. Because he can't get a call back from MGM. That's why he wants to do Deep Space. He can't. MGM won't give him his calls. You've worked with MGM. I even let the comment to them. I got no response.
That would be a good one. I mean, because it's I could see that doing all right. I mean, Alien Predators. For fuck's sake.
And obviously, there's companies they don't like
What's
Paramount.
next? A Blu-ray
Obviously,
of Alien Terminator. But
well, didn't they do Alienator? Or someone did
yes,
Alienator?
they did. It was a limited run, but still an
So that's,
Alienator.
that's what I mean. They did Alienator. So I mean, obviously, with companies they can work with. They're not working with Paramount
Because Paramount's a
because they're
pair of
Paramount
pricks. They don't want
pricks.
to work with them. They don't want to.
Just
Although it seems like Paramount sometimes works with Olive, like The Perfect
yeah.
Weapon, stuff like that. Firstborn, but I don't know. They just don't seem to want to do anything with April Fool's Day. Scream Factory has an on and off again relationship with Universal.
Hmm.
I would love to see Child's Play 2 and 3 collector's editions. I don't see that happening. And I've said that multiple times. But
Right.
it's because I really do feel that's true because Universal already released a Blu-ray set of all the Child's Play movies. A re-release of a previous set they already released. So
Right.
I don't
They
see
don't want.
them letting Scream Factory do anything with Child's Play anytime soon.
Well, I'm sure there's still some animosity from the Halloween 2 and 3 and stuff,
Yep.
making so much money from those.
So they'll work with them with certain titles, but other titles not so much. So, I mean, that's the thing. Scream Factory, they've had like one hell of a run. They got off on a hot start. If you think about it, with Shout and Scream, it's honestly a natural progression to what they're going through right now. But it's one of those things that it could be delayed a little bit more if they were a little bit more careful. with their planning. That's my thing.
Yeah, because there's a lot of companies that might take over and might
There's already a
overshoot.
lot of film companies that are right in their turf. Arrow coming in the U.S. That's a huge competitor,
Yeah.
and I've been able to experience Arrow's wonderful content because I have a region free player, and they're my favorite. They're up at the top of the list. They eclipse Scream Factory and Shout Factory already. So yeah, but I don't know. We'll see if they have another big title. I don't know how many other big titles they got to release. I
Well, I
mean,
mean, the company that released the Taking Beverly Hills, that finally got released. Shout Factory could have gotten it, but no, another company got it. It looked cool
no
on Blu-ray.
shitty commentary. I think Shout Factory would have done a better job. At least made more of an effort.
I don't know. I've seen Serpent and the Rainbow Blu-ray, so
Yeah, yeah.
where the guy Bill Pullman leaves in the middle
Well,
and no one is there.
maybe the Shout Factory from the 2 or 3 years ago, but yeah. Or you have something like The Shadow, which is labeled a collector's edition, which is not a collector's edition at all. Like, not even,
Or I
you
Come in
know.
Peace was just a 20-minute featurette and nothing else.
Well, at least that's better than the 2-minute interview with Dolph Lundgren that Umbrella did with the Punisher.
I know, but just the fact that I Come in Peace gets that, but then Xtro from Second Sight Films or whatever gets a 57-minute documentary and a
Now, that might be
soundtrack
interesting.
CD. And
I'm going to admit that, because the best thing about Xtro to me, other than the trailer that I'm always going to remember, because it's like, it just stuck with me at a young age, because I remember reading about Xtro in the Creature Features movie guide, and I checked out the trailer on Video Detective, and then I it's just the craziest, weirdest thing. It's like an in joke with me and Matt, a few other people, nobody else. But when you listen to this trailer, you can see why it's memorable. Because not very often do you have a movie trailer that is so desperate when it comes to the narration to just end it.
they're rated R.
Yeah, it's just like, it just goes in extra. Not all extraterrestrials are friendly. Rated R.
Even he knows it's so bad. But okay, maybe it'd be interesting, but you know what would be more interesting to me? A 57-minute documentary on I Come in Peace.
Yeah.
Or that on Leviathan that's not shitting on the movie.
I mean, that's for us, though. I mean, extra,
Of course, for us. I
that
mean,
has
Esther,
a.
I know it's a popular title, but so is I Come in Peace. And they gave it
Well,
nothing.
extra has gotten a big cult following because the.
But so does I Come in Peace. It was even in
Yeah.
a Jonah Hill movie,
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
The Sitter.
Yeah.
The I go and you go in pieces asshole. I
Yeah.
mean, at least like Red Scorpion, which sadly didn't do well, but
That
at
was
least
a
I
good
got what it.
Blu-ray.
That was a good
That
Blu-ray,
was
and
Synapse, right?
yeah, Synapse. That was a great Blu-ray. I mean, at least
Popcorn
that.
finally got released on Blu-ray by Synapse. They did a fantastic job.
I mean, when fucking TerraVision or whatever the
Excuse
fuck
me.
he's called
With a
was it
double feature,
TerraVision?
TerraVision and the Video Dead.
When that got more, fucking Garbage Pail Kids got more. The Garbage Pail Kids movie.
Yeah.
You can't. No one can tell me that the Garbage Pail Kids movie has
But
more
yeah,
popular
I
than
thought
Icon Peace.
the best part of Xtro, the DVD that I rented from Netflix, when Netflix wasn't streaming at all. Like, I used to have Netflix when it was just DVDs. And best part of it was the features, the interviews talking about how batshit crazy the behind the scenes stuff was involved in the film. Okay, cool. Might be
Yeah,
interesting. Um, but I
but
don't
for
know.
probably the $30 you don't have to pay for it.
I'm not paying $30 for Extra on
I'm sure it's
Blu-ray.
going to be if it's going to be this limited
And if it's a
edition
limited edition, then yeah, it's probably going to
or
go
the
out, sell
or
out
this
real
packed
quick.
with a soundtrack CD. It's not going to be $20.
See, Synapse has the right idea. I like Synapse's setup here. They release a limited edition steelbook, whatever thing with extra stuff. Then later they release another release of the film but it's not a limited edition. It's the same features, just not a steelbook. Or it might be missing a couple of features, but not anything super crazy. Like it doesn't have the book. Okay, fine. I like Synapse's setup, and Arrow's starting to do that too. I like that a lot. I think that's really cool, because not all of us want to pay $30 to $40 or have the money to pay that for a limited steelbook of Suspiria.
Right.
Maybe Second Sight will do that with Xtro. But I mean, if they do something like this with the Changeling, I'm gonna be all for it, man. I mean, I know you can't interview certain people because they're no longer around, or stuff like that. Like, I don't even think the directors. He can do a can he do a commentary? I don't think he is. He still?
Well, I think the guy did Species 2, so he did Species 2.
Yeah, he did the Species 2 commentary.
So Peter Medak.
I'd be totally into
I
hearing.
think they
I'm not.
said he was doing a commentary.
Okay, cool. I'm not really a commentary guy, but I'll listen to that though because I love the Changeling. And give me the soundtrack CD for that. I don't remember a single note from the Xtro soundtrack.
Nah,
This is this weird synth music.
wish the Blob got that or something.
Yeah. I mean,
I
in Xtro,
or
it's like, yeah,
movies.
what the Blob had like a pretty commentary, a
Yeah.
short interview.
Well, it's like Twilight Times.
Yeah.
That's why.
But Umbrella got it and didn't do
Well,
that much with it either.
yeah,
Just released the same features,
pretty much.
which was disappointing.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say Umbrella was one of the best. I said
No, I know, but
they were
still,
in
I'm
there.
just saying it's disappointing.
Yeah.
Xtro gets a 57-minute documentary and another featurette and another new featurette and all that, but the Blob
Yeah. It's shit.
sucks.
Does suck. And of course, we mentioned this before in The Hitcher.
Yeah.
Nowhere in sight.
But I
It
mean,
just fucking
Xtro,
sucks.
it's a film that I think it's just weird. It's fucking batshit insane, but I wouldn't
And
call it.
shitty.
Yeah, and shitty. I wouldn't call it a good film. Sorry.
This is not a good film.
I'd rather
That
watch Xtro
was.
2. It's a
Yes.
fun Aliens ripoff.
And of course, that's to us.
Yeah,
That's to our.
opinion. But it got a huge uptick in popularity when the Red Letter Media guys did a video about it. And probably also when all these websites and shit started to post pictures of the Xtro alien as if it's like, which was photoshopped into a wooded area in a black and white photo to be like, oh look, this is Chupacabra or something, Chupacabra sighting. I'm like, no, that's the
The Rake.
Xtro. Okay, the Rake.
It's
Yeah,
the Rake.
no, it's Xtro.
And it's
seen
rated R.
I've seen the movie.
It is rated R.
Rated R. But yeah,
But yet, a film like Beetlejuice, which I thought they had Warner Brothers.
for
People are like,
fuck's
hey, well, they
sake,
got Warner
Warner
Brothers.
Brothers.
They got Warner Brothers.
Even my
People,
cat doesn't. Even my cat's like, where's the Beetlejuice special edition?
but yeah, I mean, that could be a whole 2-hour thing on Blu-rays. But
Yeah,
yeah,
good.
at the end of the day, just be careful, Stream Factory.
Yeah.
Watch your ass.
Stay on your toes. Why are you wasting
Squeak.
money releasing Body of Evidence?
Make fists with your toes.
I mean, Body of Evidence, the candle sex movie? No.
I didn't even know that. I've never even heard of the movie before. So that shows how little
Yeah,
I.
because Madonna and its claim to fame is Madonna and William Dafoe have a sex scene and pour hot candle wax on each other.
Well, good. I never have
And
to
the
see.
whole plot is Madonna plays a woman who killed a guy by having sex with him.
Cool. Still don't care to see it.
So anyway, that's all we have to say on that front. Next up is we're going to talk about a list of underrated sequels that we put together. So yeah, we're actually going to talk about something positive for all these people who, man, these guys are depressed all the time. Just way too cynical.
I wonder why. Fucking remakes of Great Outdoors and Crow reboots.